Hello, everyone, and welcome. I'm Jen Falco from Always on My Way, and I'm the lead author of the collaborative book project called Fierce Awakenings, calling in courage and confidence to walk life's spiral path. And today I'm here with one of the co-authors, April Lee. Hi, April.
Hi.
Welcome.
Thank you.
Before we get started, let me just tell you a little bit about April. April Lee is an intuitive coach, healer, teacher, writer, and mother living in the San Francisco Bay Area. Her life and work are informed by her multicultural upbringing in Berkeley, California, Chinese, Japanese, Irish heritage, and years of personal healing work. April helps highly sensitive, empathic people learn to listen to their bodies and trust their intuition so they can access their unshakable power and thrive. She brings decades of experience in craniosacral therapy, bodywork, embodiment, somatics, mindfulness, meditation, and movement to her coaching practice and group offerings. Welcome, April.
Hi, Jen.
Let's start with, the simple question. Tell me a little bit about the fierce awakening that you wrote about in the book and why it matters now.
Well, the fierce awakening that I had and that I wrote about in the story was about being a highly sensitive, intuitive empath and how I discovered that that was a superpower. I was raised in a family and a community that didn't really acknowledge or recognize or validate these gifts. And I had been a really emotionally intelligent, creative, sensitive, intuitive child. And it seemed like I was the only one who knew. And no one around me seemed to understand, and it was confusing. Um, so I grew up knowing that these parts of me were so much of who I was, but they were um, shut down by the people around me. And so I didn't really learn to value them. And and so through the course of my life, I've been able to develop these gifts and really value them and see them as my superpowers. And now I help others connect to their own power, their own superpower. Um, so why does it matter? Why does it matter now? I believe that human consciousness is experiencing a big shift, and so many more people are waking up and becoming more self-aware and like doing deeper healing work and connecting more deeply with themselves and learning to value their intuition, learning to connect with the wisdom of their body, um, and they're walking that spiral path. They're choosing to walk that spiral path. um, I've been walking this path personally for a very long time, and I wrote this story because I'd like to share my experience so that I can be a guide for others. um, so I I do hope that women will connect to my story, and it will help serve as a guide for their journey. Um, so I part of what I do is teach craniosacral therapy, and one of my students they're in their late 20s, came to me at the end of the term and said that um, she had viewed her sensitivity and intuition as a weakness for her entire life. And she said, at the beginning of class, um, I asked about that. And you were the first person to ever tell me that my sensitivity is actually a good thing, and that it's actually a wonderful quality to have as a craniosacral therapist. And she said that over the course of the class, she learned to trust her herself. She learned to trust her intuition. She learned to value her sensitivity, and now she actually views it as a superpower. So the student really was able to sort of reframe these deeper parts of herself, and reframe what it means to be in her power. And I think I want to send the message that being in your own power doesn't have to look like what society teaches us that makes one powerful. Being loud and big, and being powerful can be quiet. Being powerful it can be just being present. So that's the message that I'd like to share. And that's why I wrote this story.
Thank you, April. That is really, really wonderful and true. It can be quiet, doesn't need to be loud and bold and sensitive. We can pause here. We can continue. Is there anything else you'd like to add? Guidance for women who are waking up to this right now?
I would just say that you possess tremendous wisdom within you. And when we can allow ourselves to be quiet and still, that's when we can connect to that wisdom that we hold within us. And let that wisdom be your guide.
Very true. Some of the best counsel that we could have, right? Just the quietness of being in your own body and being in your own mind, and just letting that come how it needs to, right? And you said it, trusting that that you have that, and it will find its way. Your students are finding their way with it too, right? Just like, and I think that's so valuable, because for women particularly, our intuition, our sensitivity has not been seen as a gift. It's not been seen as something that makes us strong, right?
Right, absolutely. I mean, we are taught to look outside of ourselves for answers and for knowledge and to help guide our lives. And the inside, the internal, the the deeper parts of us, the intuition, that is kind of glossed over. It's not even talked about. It's not seen, or it wasn't when I was growing up. I think nowadays it's much more in our collective conversation. Like, people are waking up to that. But what I found personally is that um, going inside, being connecting with my own innate guidance has allowed me to heal and to grow and to discover and just to be more of my authentic self, which has led to so much aliveness and joy. I'm really grateful for all of the teachers and the guides I've had that have helped me go deeper within myself and value those parts of me.
For me, there's a moment, I call it the wind that whispers to me, right? There's like something that just comes and it says, Jen, go do this thing, or feel into that. Is there something that helps you tune into your own intuition and sensitivity, that this is your own inner voice, heart, spirit talking to you?
Yeah, it for me, the process started with meditation and really getting out of all of my thoughts and all that debris and just clearing it out and being able to get very quiet and still within myself. Um, and it just took time, really. Validation helps as well. And boundaries, learning more about boundaries, energetic boundaries, what's mine, what belongs to others, and just becoming very clear about um, what it means to be and like own my own energetic space. That's brought a lot of clarity about around accessing myself and tuning out everything outside of me.
There a practice that you would suggest for getting quiet? Meditation's a great starting point, but there's always so much noise around us all the time. And when I first started practicing meditation, it took a long time to learn how to be comfortable with the stillness.
Sure, absolutely. I think a great place to start is with the breath. And you can do this in at any time of the day, no matter what you're doing. So it basically um, it starts with noticing that you're in your head, you're having a lot of thoughts, and then just dropping into the awareness of your breath. And it could be helpful to count maybe 3 breaths. I think that that's all we really need actually to even start a practice, an awareness practice, is taking 3 breaths. So maybe bringing your awareness down into your belly and just taking 3 breaths where your focus is down into your belly, maybe feeling your belly um, expand when you inhale. Just notice the feeling of the air moving out of your body when you exhale. And just do that 3 times. And that is enough to actually reset us and bring us from our heads into our bodies. And it is a practice. And you may notice, in the beginning that your thoughts are still going to be going when you take those breaths. But over time, with the intention um, of bringing your awareness to the breath itself, it will get easier and you'll start noticing a shift from the head to the body. I think it's just a really easy, simple way to start.
I think you touch on that too, right? It's the dropping back into your body. It's the dropping back into this. We're not just our minds, right? And there are more people waking up to this idea that my body has more wisdom sometimes than my mind does, right?
Absolutely. Well, the idea is that it's holistic. We're all our bodies, our spirit, and it's all one. It's all of who we are. And, a lot of cultures teach us that we are just from the neck up, and that's all we are. And our bodies are just these meat suits that that we walk around in. But actually, um, we are made up of our entire beings are the mind, body, spirit. And so if we are not accessing our bodies, if we're only living up here, we're actually doing ourselves a great disservice, because there's so much resource for us, in our bodies. There's so much wisdom.
I, for one, am super grateful that you've discovered your sensitivity and your intuition, and that you've been able to step into that, right? Even as you mentioned, you grew up in a place and in a moment in time when that wasn't commonplace, right? Is there anything you'd like to tell women specifically who are right at that moment of saying, yeah, I think I've got something like that too, and I'm not really sure if I want to tell people that I'm like that, or if you have, in your experience, what has been helpful
Yeah.
in going from like, oh, I know I have these things, and now I'm gonna bring them forth because it's my time to bring them forth.
Yeah. I would say to bring the focus back to yourself, right? Be kind with yourself, be loving with yourself. Do it for you and not for everyone else. Just bring it back to yourself.
Anywhere else you'd like to explore today? Anything I missed, or something that comes straight to heart that wants to come through now?
I think I would just say that everything that you are, everything that we are, all parts of us are okay.
A nice place to pause. Let that sink in. So thank you, April. Thank you for sharing. Thank you for sharing your story, and thank you for sharing all that you are.